Jeffrey Dahmer soaked in blood. The Unabomber blowing up. Waco, Texas, and Heaven's Gates. Aliens modified men from apes. JFK shot in the head by the CIA. Bigfoot and the Mothman. Son of Sam talking to dogs again. Witches, ghosts, and goblins. Mysterious noise and hauntings. Dark arts in the skull and bones. Most celebrities are probably cloned. So if you're feeling all alone, crack a beer and get stoned. I welcome you to the podcast Strange Brew. We're here to entertain you. We're here to entertain you.
It's about to get strange.
I hate that photo because Tom just told me to just send a nice picture of yourself. So I'm like, okay, smiling, and everyone else is doing all this crazy shit, and I'm just like,
I told you what it was for, man.
Anyways, Brett, what's going on with that fucking beard, man? You look like your OF got reported for bestiality.
My OF. Oh, yeah, that's the only way I can make money these days. Like,
you look like you wank on all fours.
Sometimes I have to. Scale fishing. You think I chose this life? It chooses me. Whatever gets me that money, it's all for the money.
Okay, you got more jokes? Are we doing this?
Oh, yeah, well, those were my jokes. Brett looks like he fakes jellyfish stings to get peed on by strangers.
Always. Specifically women. You have to pee on me. It's the only way you can save me. Please.
Welcome, everybody, back to the show. Welcome to the show. I'm Tomcat, a.k.a. the Tom Thompson, whatever the fuck my name is, the Reptilian. You can find my music on all music platforms. I've released the Lost tapes. They should be out the time this comes out. And we got a fun episode coming about eugenics, Brett's favorite topic.
Always. And we're joined by Slenderman's gay cousin, Billy.
Yes, Billy is reporting from New Brunswick, you know.
I need a new camera, man. I promise I don't look like this.
Whiter than
I am white, but
Are
this
you wearing
is
a shirt?
It doesn't look like it does.
Yeah, so the first time all three of us, well, technically, like on a real, we've done the kind of the urban legends one, which was just kind of having fun, getting a little drunk and hanging out. But this should be pretty fun. Everybody that's listening, if you have an iPhone, go to Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars and a good review, because
the alphabet people are after you.
We've been attacked by the alphabet community. I think it's one guy that went out of his way after seeing a video of mine or something along those lines, so I think, and then he went out of his way to call me an incel. I don't think he knows what that word means, though, because I'm married. It's almost it would be impossible for me to be an incel, actually. So, but he went out of his way because he's a faggot. So that's
and there goes YouTube.
but
like that.
Yeah, he said maggot.
I said maggot. But realistically, it is so crazy to me, right? That especially in the generation now of people, our whole show is based on not for the easily offended or the faint of heart. That's our whole slogan. And it's so weird that, I said this, if people like something, like a restaurant, they'll keep going back to that restaurant. They won't necessarily leave a review, especially for podcasts, though. It means a lot to us because it is free to just give a 5-star rating and then give us a good review if you enjoy the show. Some people don't realize that how much it does help the show and get us more out there. But it's so crazy that people just go out of their way. Just if you don't like something, all you can do is just stop listening. It's so weird.
It's the Apple users, man.
Yeah, I know. That's true. It's true, but it is crazy because people go out of their way if they don't like something, and they'll be like, "This offended me for this reason." It's like, just don't listen. Then it's such a weird, absurd thing that people think like who cares? I don't listen to if I listen to a podcast and it's I listen to some researching stuff or something, and it's very dry and dull or boring to me, and I don't go out of my way to be like, this podcast is extremely boring. I don't know why I'm listening to. You know what I mean? Such a weird thing. People are weird.
But I'm committed. I already started the episode, so now I have to finish.
But if you do enjoy and love the show, even if you don't listen on Apple Podcasts and you do have an iPhone, go give us 5 stars, rating, and a good review, because it will help us out immensely. And there's already been people that have been doing it. I got crowds of people going over there. And it's so funny because I found this guy's website, his full name, his business, all of his business stuff, his phone number's on his website. And I was like, all right, you want to play this game? I'm going to let everyone... I'll do it the same thing to you. I'll get everyone to leave bad reviews on your website and for your shitty photography business that the guy was doing. And then I actually thought it was an immigrant. I thought it was a guy mad about our great replacement theory. That's what I thought when I instantly saw it, because he has a Mongolian name. I looked it up and his name was a Mongolian name. And I was like, oh, so, and then I realized, oh, I found the guy's Instagram. Oh, he's got a gay flag in his bio. So I was like, oh, it's the mafia. It's the they them demons, you know?
Well, if that rant doesn't create more of them, I don't know what will. But
But you know demons, right? You know how they always use plurals? It is kind of funny, right? Isn't that weird? Demons usually refer to themselves as they them. We had one review that was like, "We are Legion," and they left like 1 star.
I saw that.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess you are really demons then, because demons usually refer to themselves in plurals. They or them, and it's kind of interesting once you start to look at our society now and that we do have a bunch of demons running around, it seems like.
Anyways, what's today about?
We're talking about eugenics. Billy's favorite. You want a superior race, right, Billy? That was your plan?
Well, I modded my camera to make me look as white as possible, so I think it's doing pretty good.
Yes. Release the stranglehold of hereditary disease and unfitness. So for everybody listening, we're going to be showing pictures and a couple clips. I got a Caesar. I was pretty hungover this morning, so this will be fun.
I want a Caesar. Fuck, I should have got a Caesar.
Brett does not like Caesars.
No.
He's drinking
like clam?
Bordello.
I didn't choose this. It chose me. I just came here and there's free alcohol. So.
Yeah, so
What
this
the
will be...
fuck? I never got free alcohol.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're the one that lives in the middle of nowhere. I'm sorry. Does nowhere have any alcohol? No, I didn't think so. Because it's nowhere.
All right, everybody, strap yourselves in. Eugenics is an attempt to produce genetically desirable children and to terminate the lives of those considered to be genetically inferior. Elements of eugenics exist everywhere. For example, when given the choice, people produce children with partners whom they find attractive. Part of them hopes that their attractive qualities will manifest in their offspring. A more extreme form of infanticide, killing children usually because of their physical or mental deformity, a practice as old as humanity. In ancient Greece, Plato and Socrates suggested ways of breeding to promote superior traits of the elite, as sickly infants were deliberately left to die of exposure. So they just left the baby in the sun or something?
Probably.
Burn, baby. So weird.
That was before you weren't allowed to leave them in your car.
Yeah. So crazy. This is going to get very dark, just so everybody knows. And think about it. We have this nowadays. It still exists. Eugenics is still alive and strong today. We'll be. What do you think?
Look at New Brunswick.
Not New Brunswick. That's where all of the reject eugenics go.
Well, think about it. Birth control is a part of eugenics. That's a fact. And the woman that created it was I'm not going to say it anymore. I'm just going to play the music, and then everyone will know what I'm talking about.
I'm sure it was meant by a man, wasn't it?
Well, the person that created, part of it was, but the people, we're going to talk about her. One of the prominent persons that created Planned Parenthood, she was a eugenist, and she was also, yes.
You just know that, yeah, that birth control thing, that wasn't created for like the benefit of anybody. That was like, I don't want to pull it anymore. You're going to take this pill.
And obviously this is a controversial topic. Abortion obviously is very controversial. There's people that are pro-choice or pro-life. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I don't think it should be used as birth control. But there's situations where I think that it is justified. I could have been a father at 13. Thank God I wasn't. But I
second that.
Yeah, so there is things that, but realistically, that is also a form of eugenics. It is, technically, and they try to push it within, black communities and the indigenous population and all that kind of stuff, right? So,
So what exactly do you think that eugenics means? It means breeding a stronger race for, the elites, like the elite group of people that are classified as fastest,
the
strongest.
royal family or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they tried that and...
Yeah, I know. They tried it with just themselves, and they became all fucked up.
Did not work out that
That's
way.
what happened in New Brunswick.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I think the whole idea behind eugenics. Do you want to talk like how the Nazis wanted it, or how like the Jews want it?
Well, we'll be talking about all of that stuff actually, and there is the idea of like, that there is supremacy within lots of different groups, and they believe that they should breed the strongest people and stuff like that. And, there's nobody really too innocent in all of this. But if you start to research and read into the stuff, read the Talmud and the Synagogue of Satan and all this, these books that you can acquire and gain knowledge about who these people really are that control the banking industry and most of the financial industry and your governments and all the stuff. 80% of them in Congress. They believe that they're superior. They do. They have this. They've literally said that they want to enslave the goyim, which is anyone that is not them. And that is a fact. Rabbis have said this numerous times. Anyone that's in Israel, they say this stuff openly. There's that guy Morgan Spurlock. He just died because of the medicine time thing, I think. But he's the guy that did...
Well, that's where you draw the line now, saying the word, eh?
Yeah. So we're going to try to say that. Just, we got to kind
of... You found a new thing to go way too hard on.
Yeah, we're gonna dance these lines all the time on the show of trying to expose what is going on, but still have fun with it while we do it, And he did like the Super Size Me, like documentary. He did one where it's called Where in the World is Osama bin Laden? I thought it was actually pretty decent. And when he went to Israel, they were not very kind at all. They were spitting on him, attacking him, just for being there. That was it. Just for being there. So if you start to, and there's a lot of footage of this stuff that they think they're superior. They spit on Christians. They think that Jesus Christ is burning in his own excrement and semen. Burning alive in hell. That's what they believe in the Talmud. That's a fact. You can look that up. They also believe...
Semen flammable?
Maybe
anything's flammable with enough heat.
Yeah, and he's burning alive in excrement and semen is directly what they believe. And this doesn't mean that people that practice Judaism are all evil or bad or whatever, but the people that are the Zionists definitely are. And there's enough writing throughout history that they are actively behind a lot of horrendous shit, and they believe that they can have redemption through sin. So that's why they are very sinful. I was going to say creatures, but you could say that. They're not really human, because to be human is to be humane, right? So there's all these writings. I've done a lot of reading recently and a lot of research, and they're the ones that want to make the superior race. They were the ones that attacked Germany in so many different ways, and not saying what the Nazis did was good, but neither what the Zionists did is good. So, you got to start to study history and understand why these things happen and why atrocities happened and took place, You understand?
Yeah, totally.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So today there is there is a sensible and ethical side of what is being often called eugenics. Examples include disabled children having operations to save their lives, and individuals with learning difficulties asking for sterilization because they can't manage contraception and don't want children. So, making the perfect woman. This is Billy's favorite pastime, right? Let's get them to line up. So we're showing a video, and it's like Venus measurements, and it's like they're putting women into this cutout to show like, oh, who is the perfect woman? So strange.
I'm wondering why they were even lining up if they knew they weren't 5'4". That was like the main requirement right off the bat.
I know. Isn't that
it's like
weird?
you are clear. Yeah, that first lady. You're not tall enough. You knew that.
Wait,
hips 36.
That seems awfully short.
That's what they want. They want short, slender. They want women.
Wait, are these Jews that want 5'4" women?
Well, it actually was.
Well, it's because they got 5'5" men.
There's a lot of America. There's a lot. Eugenics took place in America way before the Nazis adapted all of this kind of stuff and the thoughts and practices of that. And then, so that's what I was going to say too. You have to. What did Karl Marx say? A famous quote from a Jewish supremacist was, accuse your enemy of everything you're doing. And then you start to research history and go through all the stuff that was going on. Like America had their own concentration camps with the Japanese during the war. It's the idea to house the people that are violently going to try to destroy your country. And that's what they perceive, because they couldn't trust, does this guy have allegiance to America or does he have it to Japan? And so they had to house these people during the war. And not saying that horrible things did not take place, because they did. There was a lot of people that got hijacked, and evil is evil no matter what it is or what face it wears. It's still evil,
I have been around you for long enough, Tom. I am so aware that like within, I'm going to put a timeline like under 6 months, give it 6 months.
Yeah.
And Tom's going to refer back to this conversation and he's just going to be 100% pro Germany. There's not going to be like an ounce of doubt in him. It'd be like, it's all fake 100% of it.
Well, if you start to look into that stuff and, you know, there's people that went to these camps and existed and were still alive today on both sides. There's people that say it was this horrible thing, and there's literally people that say, yeah, I was in the orchestra. There was they put on plays, they allowed art, there was pools.
Yeah,
and
prison's still prison though.
Yeah. But the thing is, the people did die. That is a fact, and there is the statistics that they show that
seems like the only fact that matters.
Not as many people as they think, but they were also doing this to Germans and to the European population and all that stuff. Is the idea of wars, population control, who funded the wars from both sides, all that type of stuff, right? So you start to look into that, and you start to realize, you know, that there was a lot of infighting. People were wanting to destroy Germany from within, so you got to put everyone in the same place to make sure that they're not going to do anything bad and do at the time they wouldn't classify this, but as terrorism, right? So if there was if we know for a fact that there was now terrorist attacks taking place in the United States because of the border being wide open. This is happening all the time. They're trying to break into like the FBI headquarters. There's really crazy stuff happening right now. So the idea, if that did happen and we could prove that it was say a Muslim extremist group or whatever, right? And they could actually prove that they were involved in it, then you would want to try to take everybody that was part of that and house them in a certain location so you know where they all are. That's the idea.
How did we get on this?
Because I just do eugenics and history and
that's part
where
of
it comes from. And obviously most people know of it from Germany and the practices that they were taking place, right? Like, you know, killing off the Jewish children so their bloodline wouldn't keep going. Like stuff like this did happen.
Who the fuck missed Brett?
Pardon?
You should have been the last one.
What could I do?
You know, I
wanted to for one more round.
I've taken a lot of time to read and research and look into stuff, and it is pretty fascinating, right? And like on both sides, I believe both sides sold out their people. You know, that the whole reason World War I and II started, you can actually trace this back to directly to give to give Palestine over and make it Israel. That is a fact. World War I and II probably were the whole reason they commenced and were done was for that, and obviously population control amongst many other reasons. But so you start to look into the stuff, and it's like, oh, that's a little weird. The Balfour Declaration to give Palestine to the fake Hebrews, you know, because you're not Hebrew, you can't be Hebrew.
Hebrews,
they're Jews.
You can't be. You're Khazarian. So pretty crazy. So because the institutions like the states, prisons, and medical facilities, as well as the privileged elites, use eugenics as a way to exterminate the elements of society whom they consider to be a burden. When starting out as selective breeding and infanticide has today developed into forced sterilization, genetic editing to produce designer babies, quotations, real thing, Kardashians do this. Yeah, it's a new Gucci baby.
You just like Kanye walking down the street and he'd be like, I got my Prada, got my Gucci.
It is a real thing that the Kardashians have done stuff like this. This thinking also informs certain depopulation agendas. And you see this now. Like, I think the transgender thing is a way to sterilize people, to cut off the undesirables of these people that will fall for anything because they're mentally sick, right? That's a fact. You were mentally sick. There was something wrong with you. If they took the time to research how to change people's brains in that way, so maybe they wouldn't believe that they were a woman when they're a man, so to speak, instead of the amount of money that they put in to affirm these people of their mental delusions, it would be a lot different. You know, if they actually wanted to help these people relieve their minds of this sickness, because that's what it is. And most people can agree on that, right, Billy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Personally, if you go to a third world country, you don't see a lot of gays and a lot of transgenders because the simple fact of
you'll die
day to day, they're trying just to survive.
Yes.
Or
when you make life on easy mode and it's like, oh, okay, I have no problems, but I need problems. So remember the movie The Matrix? Remember how like they made the Matrix? Like, why even have them work? It's like,
Yeah.
well, see, if they don't have a purpose, they kind of start falling apart and they start becoming insane and they don't survive.
The Illuminati.
I'm Illuminati. But anyway,
it's
it's
true.
the fact of if people aren't constantly put under the thumb and pressure of not keeping up, then and put on easy mode, then they kind of develop these mental habits that are, well, quite sick. And it's the same thing with like pornography, and it gradually gets worse and worse.
Oh yeah.
As you know, trying to get aroused because you have to watch more violent and more, what's the word?
What you
aggressive
watching?
Content, right? So
Is that what you're watching, Billy?
I said, what you watching?
the question is, what don't I watch?
It is a good point, right? 'Cause it is interesting if you start
Well,
to
you go
look
to
at-
Africa, there's no gay people, there's no pride flag, there's no transgenders. I mean, Thailand's different because like there's a lot of people and they want money and they figured, well, if I'm just a lady boy, then I can, do some sucky for some dolly. So
There's also some communities like that too, where you'll still
Yeah.
be publicly hung if
Yeah.
you come out as things like that.
Well, and the
The
thing is too.
The Amish.
the Amish.
The thing is too, right?
Yeah,
know.
not
whatever they were fighting for in the 80s, for like equal rights or whatever.
It's not like they can't vote. Like what
I
they
know.
don't have anything that we don't.
That's
like,
why I think it's like trans rights are human rights, and I'm like, what rights do I
listen,
have
you wanna
that you
chop
don't
your
have?
dick off? Go for it. Like,
Yeah.
Just don't tell me what to do to my kid, all right? Damn.
And they've said this openly, but the thing is, right, for the to play devil's advocate, right, the people that were fighting in the 80s for just equality to love who they wanted to openly, so you could love a man if you're a man or whatever. Now that's been all eroded anyways, because there's a lot of people that are gay and nice people, there's a couple down the street that run a restaurant, very nice dudes, don't like the government. They have a cup that says fuck me like the government does. Like, they're funny dudes and they're good people.
a good slogan. I'm gonna
But
use
then there's the idea now where it's like the LGBT plus was supposed to be everything else, but now it's like, Billy, I want you to do me a favor, look it up and try to say it as fast as you can.
Oh, the full
Yeah.
thing.
So now it's including everything. It's not about love. It's now about sexual identity. That's what it is now. Who knows what, what the purpose of it was. In the 80s, 90s was just like, let me love who I want to love. But now today,
So it's the
definitely-
LGBTQIA plus. LGBTQIA plus.
Faster.
LGBTQIA plus.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good, man. You could do a speech with Trudeau and, people would clap. But like, that's the
That's
thing.
all I gotta say like 15 times. Just keep going. Ah!
Well, now it's been like eroded either way, right? Because now it's like, and then they're going to add an F for like furries. Who knows? And it is just about who you fuck now, what you put in your butt, what you suck. It has nothing to do with love at all. It has everything to do with sexual identity. And where does that come from? Where does that come from? I wonder where that comes from. Maybe the Talmud that has 8 genders. Maybe that's a little weird. And then we'll be getting into stuff like that. I can't wait. I have a researched episode for the Weimar Republic, where the first like transgender clinic was put up in the 20s and 30s in Germany. Pretty crazy stuff, man. So get excited for that episode. In 1866, in Imperial Russia, don't know this guy's name. Vlazy Florinsky authored a book advocating for the scientific methods to improve human traits. Given the poverty of Russia at the time, there was no medical facilities to realize Florinsky's ideas. Russia would not endure a eugenics program until the Bolsheviks seized power in 1917. Who were the Bolsheviks, Billy? It's gonna be played a lot in this episode.
I was trying to look up Vlady Florinsky. That name sounds so familiar. What else did he write?
I don't know.
Isn't he the guy that did
Vlasy Florinsky.
Can you spell the last name for me?
Florinskii. Wow, did you read one of these old Russian books?
No, there's a really popular one that he.
Are you sure?
Oh, I can't think of it. It was something around that. What's that guy's name that did that dog experiment again with the bell?
The dog? You talking about Fauci?
Yeah, no, not Fauci. Shut up. No, the one that Brett, that he like tormented these fucking dogs into they kept giving them like the bell, and then they basically all these dogs went fucking insane. He ended up killing all of them.
Did you do that?
Fuck was it? He was like a partner with him, I believe, around the same time.
Was he German or was he Russian?
This guy was German, I believe.
Weird.
But this guy was doing stuff around the same time. It's going to drive me nuts. If I remember, I'll
in Germany, the
later.
term racial hygiene, Rassenhygiene, was coined in 1895 by the biologist Dr. Alfred Politz. Can you guess? He's probably... The notation later informed Nazis thinking on eugenics. And it's pretty interesting. You want to read this for me, Billy?
Pavlov. That's the guy I'm thinking of.
Oh,
Anyways.
yeah.
Eugenics certificate. This guarantees that I have examined the sender of this card and find a perfect physical and mental balance. Who says who?
Really.
And usually strong and unusually strong eugenic love possibilities, well fitted to promote the happiness and future welfare of the race. You are qualified.
You are qualified.
That's like,
What's up
that's
with the guy's face though? Like, look at
that
him.
is the
Beady eyes.
ultimate participation trophy.
This is so true.
You did nothing, but you showed up and you did okay.
Your parents have done you well.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You know, but the British, the British biologist Sir Francis Gallant coined the term eugenics, meaning of good birth. Where is that guy? I think it's this guy. I think it's the guy with the chops. So it looks like a fun guy entertained at parties. You know,
Looks like he has a couple guns in his pocket.
He looks like he's looking at his plantation right now, and he's just wondering, that boy over there would be real fit to be with that girl over there.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of which.
Yeah, so it's a population control, obviously, in some terms, and describes it as the science of improving hereditary stock, not only by mating, but by all the influences which give more suitable strains a better chance.
Now, hold on.
So weird.
What is the exact opposite of eugenics? Is it retardation?
I would
I
think
guess so. Or like no, that'd be like mass breeding.
Math, like it's like, think about, I think it'd just be a Gomer, wouldn't it? It's just two siblings getting it on. They make this child. It's called Gomer, and it's really like retarded and stuff, and it has really bad genetics. And
They did that. They called it New Brunswick.
oh shit, yeah. That's why I want to go out there. You know, good looking ladies.
I like it. I feel like I'm like the smartest person in the province.
Yeah.
He can count to 10. You know he's smart.
You're doing all right.
Only healthy seeds must be sown. Check the seeds of hereditary disease and unfitness by
first off,
eugenics.
to be fair, if you have, say if you have AIDS, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have a baby,
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
and it's like, oh, like Forrest Gump, oh, okay, Forrest, you stay here and look after the AIDS baby while I go die. Like,
Technically.
Okay.
what? Okay, Jenny. Well, anyway, it's just interesting because is there anything wrong with having a strong, healthy community that's not a bird? Okay, you know what?
That is exactly where your sentence was going. 100%.
I'm just saying, well, either way, there's nothing wrong with wanting a healthy, strong community and not breeding hereditary diseases. For example, these people that can't eat wheat, what the fuck happened? Can't eat wheat?
I know. I can't. I think
What you just said?
I don't think I can.
I can't drink milk anymore. Cheese. Like,
You're not
I don't think that's
celiac,
good
Tom.
for you anyway. I can't handle milk and dairy products, but I don't think we're supposed to, unless I think like milk straight from the cow's tit probably would be fine.
No,
But
I've
cheese
already,
is like not good for you, man.
We've already done a big thing on this. Like everyone's technically lactose intolerant, and
intolerant,
I got really, really bad in like 2019. Like I couldn't even have a coffee.
After his,
Like I
medicine
was
time.
stuck in the fucking bathroom like all 24 hours. And then basically how I overcame that was just keep doing it until it stopped hurting.
See, there
I
you
just
go,
kept
muscle it out.
fucking drinking, and then eventually I'm not lactose anymore.
There's like a meme that Chelsea sent me, and it's just like, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. And it's like your wife trying to convince you to not eat food that gives you diarrhea. You know, Billy used to. We got videos of Billy. He would be farting up the studio when we first started the show, and because he's like, we'd eat pizza, and it'd just be like the whole basement would stink because Billy's fucking farting the entire episode.
Just Dutch oven in the bottom basement. That's
It was bad, man. A little bit of cheese, end of day.
So I'm just flipping through some. Of
I'm a
these.
survivor, though.
I don't know. The thing is like if you could technically breed out, you know.
That's
bad-
the point, right? Is to.
Well, what if it comes out? What if you? All right, think about this one.
Yo, is your
Doing
nose
his
Jewy
nose.
enough?
Gee, no. Like, what happens if they come out of the point, Tom, where they can genetically select all the traits that you want?
They're already doing that. They're like doing stuff like that now. Japan's probably doing it, but China's doing it. They're trying to breed super soldiers. That's like a fact. America is trying to do that. That's a real thing that they're doing now, and it's only they're going to only progress more into this. And the fact that it still exists today. They can test. Oh, if your baby has Down syndrome. All right, we can terminate the baby. You know,
Well, that's in Norway. Did you know that?
yeah, happens in
If you
Canada.
have a baby in Norway and they found out that's retarded, it's illegal to have it.
Really?
That's why they're one
Yes,
of the
it's illegal to
smartest
have it.
countries.
They will they'll either
So
put
you
you
s-
in jail or they'll kill it when it comes out, either or you have to leave the country.
Would you say, Billy?
That's why they're one of the smartest countries. But
Well,
no, I'm not
They
making
also
a joke.
have
They
the
are.
immigration
but-
problem too. So
Yeah. Oh, I guess maybe not now then. But anyways, where your thought process is going, like I get it, right? Because then you're saying, okay, so what's so wrong with me wanting like XYZ? But as soon as you start like nitpicking one thing, that's when everything just turns, and then that's where you see people going, oh, well, that I don't like that one's hairline, so
okay, so
gotta
you
die.
don't want good teeth.
No, I'm not saying that that's all
So
fine.
you don't want strong bones.
So you don't want a big penis.
That I mean,
You can live without it, Tom.
you could live without that one, but I'm saying like good skin, so you can actually like go out in the sunlight and not get 3-degree burns like people in New Brunswick.
So you're saying black people are more superior?
Yeah, so you want
Say
black.
that.
That is exactly what you just said. Good
did
teeth,
not
good
say
bones,
that.
don't get sunburned.
Oh, I'm sorry. Read a book. Oh, fuck. There we go. Off the list.
It is crazy because there is like a kind of a moral and ethical idea that it. I don't know. There is like kind of like
Just
it's
an
a dancing
ideal
line.
human. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
You know?
If you could breed common sense, that we should probably breed
that's
that, but we
actually
can't do
that's
that.
a good one. I like
You know
that
what's
one.
the craziest thing too? Everyone like talks about when Jesse Owens ran the Olympics in Nazi Germany, right? And he won. And there's a joke that like Hitler's like, oh, maybe we're making the wrong type of people. Maybe we need to embed with this stock of. It's a joke, right? The idea that black people were faster or whatever. It's a fact, right? But did you know that Jesse Owens said that he felt more at home and loved in Germany than he did in America, where it was like colored people go this way, colored people go that way. He felt more comfortable in Nazi Germany than he did in America at the time. That's a quote from him directly, and he said that he never had he had the biggest standing ovation ever in his entire career of running in Nazi Germany. That's a fact. So it's pretty crazy because when you start to research and look into these things that happened, it's pretty crazy. You know that Nazis had the most diverse army of all time. They had Indians, people from India that represented them all over the world, Africa, and they're all in their uniforms. You can see pictures of this shit. So a lot of this stuff, history is a lie. It's written by the victors. Yes, bad things happen, but bad things happen in war. You know what the Japanese were doing? Me and Billy talked about it. They were doing horrible things to people. The Chinese were doing horrible things to POWs. Americans were, Canadians were. The Geneva Code was put in place because what Canadians were doing during World War I and II. Well, most, I think, in World War I.
Your fucking
So-
mind needs to be studied. Someone should study you. I know. You're just like off.
Well,
We
this
were
is the-
having a good time, Tom.
I know. But that's what I'm saying is that like recently I've just started to like one thing I've read into aliens. I've read into a ton of conspiracy stuff. But what's fascinating the most now is like history and what our truth of our history actually is. And who is sponsoring this? If you follow the money, look into this and that. Like that's why I'm about questioning everything, people. And I believe that everyone should live that way, not just like take a statistic or a fact from like what the communist school system taught you or what a TikTok video told you. Actually fact check the stuff and look into it. Not the fact checkers from BlackRock, but actual looking into it yourself. Right?
Eugenics.
Yes.
Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
Exterminate!
If I fucking watched that clip like on ecstasy, I'd be tripping right now. That is the most that was the most all over the place sentence.
I know. But I'm just trying to inform the people of the things that I've learned, and just to question everything, So it's pretty crazy. So then, meaning good birth, that's what this. So the British biologist Sir Francis Gallion coined the term eugenics, meaning good of birth, and described it as the scientific improving of inherent stock. Getting the better strain of human, which is so wild. Gallion was inspired by his cousin, Charles Darwin, who was cautious about eugenics. The influential book on an essay on the principles of population, 1798, written by the economist Thomas Malthus, also influenced Gallion. In it, Thomas argued that the unlimited population growth was unsustainable. More inspiration came from Herbert Spencer, the sociologist who coined the term survival of the fittest. In 1901, Gallion established the University of London's Eugenics Laboratory. So they were like, this has been around forever, Look at this.
Popular eugenics.
Yes, national efficiency in American mass culture in the 1930s. It's that's what people are like. Oh, the Nazis were doing it. It was America too. There was it was a lot. Who is the perfect baby? They do all these weird tests and shit like that, and pretty interesting. And and that's why they're using all these things to cull the population. It's culling the herd, so to speak. So in Germany, Wilhelm Schallmeyer authored the popular books concerning selective breeding among the elites to further civilization. Just as the U.S. eugenicist groups were sponsored by corporate foundations, Schellenmeyer was prominent by Krupp, the German industrial giant. Most early feminists opposed abortions, so eugenics was, in many ways, a proxy for abortion. Isn't that weird?
Well, you spin it whatever way you want, right? Whatever way is going to try to get more people's attention.
Yeah, well,
or
and
backing.
This Schellenmeyer, what kind of name does that sound like?
I kill a communist for fun. But for a green card, I'm gonna carve him up real nice.
Cuban?
I was going to say Mexican. That's funny.
Oh, that's some Scarface. So I was
Yeah. He didn't like communists because he came from Cuba, which was dominantly a communist place. And it's funny, people are like, well, the Chinese are communist and da-da-da, and all this stuff. And it's just funny. Do you know who helped to build up the Mao's revolution, to bring in the Cultural Revolution? I wonder who it was. There's a guy named Israel Epstein that was in talks with Mao, and they were very in cahoots, and the whole ideology of communism comes from... so you start to research this stuff and look into it, and then it's just like, yeah, they were influencing all different cultures. Even the Cuban Revolution was designed by. So start to read, people, into your history, and everything will start to line up and make sense. In the 1900s, Germans, Brunt Muttenschutz. Here you go, Brett.
Nailed it. Oh, his native tongue is coming out.
Bund
Come on.
Muttenschutz.
see that.
Bund from Muttenschutz. Muttenschutz. You gotta bring out your German accent.
Roll it with your tongue. You got this. It's from the heritage, the old days.
Bund from Muttenschutz. So, an organization for a maternity project saw feminists and socialists advocate for eugenics in order to own their bodies and gain credence in the male-dominated sciences. The BFM was established by Elizabeth Boonies, Ruth Bred, whoever the fuck that is, who fostered support groups for single, unwed mothers. Others, more right-wing eugenics, like Angus Bloom, dismissed the BFM's utopianism. Men conversely tended to see eugenics as an opportunity to further their control over female bodies. Isn't that interesting?
That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
Well, as soon as you got control, like that's now you have control of literally everything. Like I
Yeah.
said, as soon as you start giving into one little thing, it's like, okay,
true.
that makes sense, and that's something that everybody would agree with. Don't you want kids with good teeth, good bones? And it's like, yeah, and
Yeah.
now we get all of this too.
Do you know who
Steady step.
Do you know where all the money came to build the feminist groups?
Government.
It's a fact, man. Look into it. All the people that sponsored and funded feminism, all specifically were like Bolsheviks and Jewish people that were trying to essentially, because that's what it is. You attack. They don't take away the guns first and stuff like that. They attack the family unit. Feminism was created to destroy the family unit, the nuclear family from within, and that's a fact. And not everyone that funded it was mostly Jewish. One of the main prominent voices of feminism was a Jewish woman. And they've stated this openly in their writings, that to destroy the family and have the state educate the children, and that the children will not be owned by the parents. The children are essentially owned by the state. And there was Canadian politicians that said this shit. One guy who was confronted during the pandemic stuff, and he was an MP, I think out east or whatever, and he said, "You don't own your children, the state does." And people were like, "Excuse me?" when they were confronting him about some of the gender ideology stuff, and what they're teaching in the schools, and it's pretty crazy, man. And that's what communism is. They believe that you don't have the right. They abolish all private property, even your children. They want to own your children, but then the people at the top control everything and own everything. That's why it's not for love for everybody. All these kids being brainwashed by this ideology that like everyone's gonna get what they need. No, it's not how it works. It's never worked like that in all of history. Whoever practices communism leads to starvation and death. All right? Remember
Except for the good ones, the hard workers.
Well, that's
the 1% is what I meant.
That's why it's so funny. People are like, capitalism is so bad. It's killed so many people. It's like, it's not capitalism because the market is not, it's manipulated like a puppet. The market has never been free, and it's owned by a bunch of bankers and all that stuff. And right? So it's not capitalism. We've never seen what true capitalism or democracy actually is, because it's all controlled by the same 13 families.
I think very much we've seen a lot of what true capitalism is.
Not necessarily, no, because the market's not free. It's not actually a free market.
Well, I guess if you're talking about the stock market, but like just regular capitalism, saying I can walk out on the street today, start my own business, get my own money, and nobody can decide how much I'm making, stuff like that. Like,
yeah, it's been good for society in some regard and stuff like that. But then
that's what I mean. Is that not kind of what it is?
It's kind of, but it's never been, because you're still being controlled by the banking industry.
Well, you need to get your permit, then you need your license.
Money.
See. Oh, sorry. You're talking about doing it legally. Sorry. My bad.
Why the hell do you need a license to start a business?
I know. Why do you need a license for anything? Like, that's all government.
So they know you're not a criminal.
Yeah.
Criminal of what?
What do you mean? Our entire government is criminal,
people.
Man. Our entire government is treasonous, selling us out to fucking India, Israel. You said this.
You don't need to start shit when it's all cash.
Yeah, it's true. Gold, man. You gotta get gold. You gotta get behind what you know. That's why
I'll do that. I'll start my window cleaning business. I'll be like, you can only pay me in gold bars. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And see how many people I can.
But Billy, you gotta dress like a homeless guy. You'll get more tips that way.
Is that how you do it?
Squeegee.
Squeegee, please.
So inspired by Malice, the Thomas guy, the British Eugenics Education Society was founded in 1901 by Silba Godo, nice name, and headed by Gallant. 40% of its members were women. Was that weird? For many feminists, male-dominated sexuality produced maimed disease and unwanted babies. Dora Marsden, editor of Free Woman, opposed the Eugenics Education Society as a conspiracy against the poor. The Swedish feminist Ellen Kelly explained that society should be protect all, except for which he gives an occasion to a weak offspring and produces bad conditions for the development of that offspring. Pretty interesting. Eugenicists relied on biology to try to defend superior and inferior characteristics. They utilize statistics to try to prove that the lower class of people were outbreeding the highest, which is and look at us now. There's no middle class anymore. It's like rich and poor. And that's, and as the point to what Brett kind of made too is true, is that if they keep you like working and they constantly, you're just scraping by, they give you just enough, give them cake and circus and they won't revolt, then the people are so busy just trying to make ends meet that they'll never look up to the government and be like, why are you guys stealing everything from us? Why are we being taxed Like they did this statistic now recently where it's like, so if you were to pay all of your taxes in June, you would spend 6 months out of the year paying the government. And then finally in June, you would start to make money for yourself. So if you start at the beginning of the year, you work 6 months out of the year for the fucking government to steal your money and send it to like wherever to research gender ideology studies in the Philippines.
Let's be honest. We all know it's going to Ukraine.
Yeah, I know. All that money. They got like, how can you sniff so much in one interview? You know? Zelensky's always like, yeah, so he didn't fight for democracy. Democracy, man. And it's like they use these words like democracy to defend their atrocities, right? There's no democracy in Ukraine. They're literally like jailing pastors and Christians and people that are against the war and making men fight. They're trying to force people to fight even though they don't want to. It's crazy. And they're going to bring in World War III and, just so everybody knows, the United States has tried to pass legislation through to draft 18 to 26-year-olds. So if you don't see how bad this could get, your eyes will open pretty soon.
It's the worst category of people to draft from. Have you seen how fat Americans are?
That's, it's culling the herd, bro. More population control,
Maybe that's what they want. They want a fat, compliant.
Take a couple bullets before he falls down. That one didn't even go through.
Well, I've always wondered that. You ever wonder what would be the opposite of eugenics?
It would be so everyone is just slow and retarded and can't think for themselves.
Let's get this straight. Hold on.
It'd be
World
mass.
War II, World War I, Vietnam, all right, Korea. You have an entire listing of requirements and medical.
Yeah. Now they don't do that.
Yeah,
Barely.
but back then, think about how many strong, eligible men that had all these, these characteristics of a fighter.
Yeah.
And they've gotten rid of majority of them.
No, that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's true. They destroyed all the strongest of men.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening
And they
today.
fought in the name and died in the name of freedom. It's like you're doing this for her country, which in 70 years will be turned over to men that actually think they're women, but actually try and convert your children into watching sexually orientated story times. And
I don't want to go to war anymore.
I know. Well, look, and
I
that's
don't
what
want to.
George S. Patton said, that we fought on the wrong side and the communists won the war. And it's like, is society better now because of the good guys won? This perceived idea that good guys have always won. They've always won, right? No, that's never happened. Actually, it's the most evil, depraved people have done the most cutthroat things in all of our history to design the system that they wanted to build to enslave all of the human race. And now we're seeing this happen. My grandparents and my great-grandparents didn't die in the fucking war to give Gurpreet my tax money, because that's what's happening. Like, literally, you're getting paid to work. I know we already did this episode, but it's crazy because I think about that. All the sacrifice that all those white guys made to make sure Canada was given to Canadians in the future generations so they could be a prosperous country. And then it was thrown all out the window. They threw it all out the window. All those people that died literally for nothing. And there's a book I want to get that Jeremy McKenzie's been reading. He's shutting on his show. I have to figure out what book it is, but it's all these letters and stories from all these men that fought in World War II and how they despise what this world is now and how they don't know what they fought for. A lot of them were like, why did my friends die? All my friends died for nothing, because look at the country now. Is it better? No. Is the world better? No, it's not. It's actually way worse. It's true. Look around, right?
And all because of the blue button. Blue button.
It's true. They funded both sides. They've controlled everything. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Habsburgs, all were, yes. The
I miss being able to
Khazarians.
just reach over and just fuck
I
with
was
that
trying
board.
to, but I don't think it was hooked up to that.
No, it wasn't. It was on another one. But it's just,
Oh, you can just put whatever you want.
it's kind of
Fuck
weird,
it.
man.
That's weird.
Randomly press buttons. Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
So
It's like comedy.
People don't understand where this is headed, and it's so funny because a lot of people are like bringing up the idea that like, well, shut up, white man. You're a colonizer, all that shit. The indigenous population is from Eastern Asia, right? Like the native population that exists in Canada, or that did exist somewhat, that they were from East Asia. Like they can trace all their lineage back then. So you're not even native to this land.
Or South America,
Yeah.
because we don't know where the Aztecs really came from. Because
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like people don't understand that all land has been conquered at some point
Yeah, but
or
doesn't
another.
it run on the concept of first come, first serve? Like, what's
So to speak, but it's like
I was here first. Like, what the hell, man?
well, the
Fair.
indigenous
Bought
weren't.
this house, and some guy comes in, it's like, this is my house, bitch. Like, what the fuck?
Well, it's
Yeah.
true. Well, now we're seeing that now. That's why people are justifying what's happening with mass immigration. And they're like, well, karma's a bitch. You know, you guys deserve it, da-da-da. And it's just like, yeah, but you know the indigenous were like cutting and like killing the children of the Europeans. And that's like funny. Is you wonder like why these things took place, right? You always like, you start to study history and you start to be like, hey, why did this happen though? Oh, because the indigenous, they were already warring with each other. And not saying it's justified at all, but they were warring with each other, killing each other. The European settlers came over here, actually tried to make deals with them, and then they started killing the European children, putting their body parts into trees so the European settlers would see this, killing their women and children, and then they were like, fuck this, we tried to make a deal, and then the genocide happened. But is it a genocide if people are still around? Because technically, if they want to, the Europeans probably could have killed every single native, but they didn't, so that's technically not a full-blown genocide, because there's still natives that exist today. And not saying it's justified.
I was gonna watch it. Careful.
I'm not saying it's justified, but there's no innocent parties in war, in history. There is people complicit on both sides, and it was mostly all the government. All the problems come from the governments and the people who are truly evil and control the world, because a lot of European settlers didn't even know about the indigenous, just came over to build a better country for themselves, you know what I mean, and to expand and try to make a better culture. And I find it funny that everyone in the world wants to come to the European countries and the countries that Europeans built, because we have a better system. We have supposedly have to have law and order, not much anymore, but you know, it is interesting if you think about it that way. Why do you guys all want to come to the white countries? Oh, that's because our countries were built better than your poopy country.
I thought this episode was on
I think
eugenics.
Donald Trump said something like that.
Is that your poopy
We don't
country?
That
want
exact
anyone from your
sentence.
shithole countries coming here. We really don't.
Your poopy countries.
We're gonna build a wall and make the Mexicans pay for it all.
Yeah, let's just burn a massive landfill full of garbage. That's a great idea.
Oh, Detroit.
Yeah, you could do that. Yes, it's true. So funny. All the states that are very much against guns are the worst ones. So
It's true.
pretty crazy. So obviously, you know, and then this all the stuff that we're talking about does kind of coincide with some of the shit that we're talking about when it comes to, you know, people and different races and groups. And there is differences between us. That's a fact, man. You can't just cover it up and be like, we're all the same. That's not true. Eugenics relied on this biology to define, you know, what was the best race of people, or superior or inferior characteristics, obviously, you know, and trying to create the higher status of people. But the EES members, like mathematician and later Ministry of Food Statistics David Huron, explained that higher net fertility is soon to be very marked correlated with the most undesirable social factors. We know now that the poverty can cause serious cognitive problems in the developing brain. So people from poor countries obviously have lower IQs. You know, they're not educated properly. That is a fact, right? So Billy knows about that. Aren't you
Pick
Mexican?
on Brett. He's
man?
beside you.
What? What did I do?
You know, Billy's like the whitest Mexican ever. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah. You do have Mexican blood in you somewhere, right?
Well, no, we've talked about this. Remember, because I'm German Mennonite, so they all went to Mexico first, and then I talked about how my grandpa probably killed Brett's grandpa in the war. You don't remember that conversation?
I do, but this is all Third Reich blood, so don't tell ya.
It's so funny just because like I'm not justifying anything that was done to people. I believe that, you know, humans, you know, you need to be humane to be human, and killing anyone I think is a disgusting practice of barbarism. But the fact is, if someone comes
That's what the
attacks,
system wanted you to say.
well, that's true, because if someone wants to attack you, yes, you have to defend yourself. If you have an evil force of malevolent people, you kind of that's why it's like so funny, this hate speech thing. It's like it's bad, it's hate speech. You're supposed to hate bad things. Should you hate pedophiles? Yeah. Should you hate people like that will just kill people out of a whim and not care? Yes. You're supposed to hate evil. You're not supposed to love evil, and that's what the society is becoming, where it's like just accept everything, it's fine. everyone should be accepted. No, not everyone should be accepted. If you're a degenerate, you know. You get me? You get my flow? You know?
I was listening.
So at the time, poverty-related impaired cognitive function that they called feeble-mindedness was falsely attributed to genetics. And just the same way Klaus Schwab says, like, useless eaters and all in their own writings. A 1912 report by the Committee to Consider the Eugenic Aspect of Poor Law Reform refers to the feeble-minded who could not work and were a negative value to the capitalist class as the chief burden on the public purse. It's a weird way to say it, as they required health and social care, both are which instill their infancy. So it's the idea, like, yeah, if you're not gonna benefit society, then I guess you should go.
A useless eater is the only way I'm insulting anyone anymore.
Yeah,
that is such a good sentence.
It is. That's
You
what
are
they earn
such a
over
waste
writings.
of food.
It's in their own writings, man. It's so true, because that's what they say. Like, you're a useless eater. You're not benefiting society, and that's why it's so funny. Like, I think people like Trudeau and stuff truly believe that he's like he's so mentally ill. Like, his brain's so fucked up. Oh no, it's crazy. What? Sorry, off train of thought.
Go figure.
You know what's
Carry on.
crazy? Supposedly, right? The French intelligence agency, get this, have a video. This is a theory, but they supposedly have this. People that know these people have heard that this is true. That they have a video of Trudeau fucking Macron, the French premier. They have video footage of this. So you wonder why his wife left him. There's a clip of him being like, you know, it would be, if Trudeau saying this, it's funny because your cousin sent me this, where it's like, Trudeau's talking, he's like, it would be crazy, you know, it'd be so progressive if you realized that, you know, your prime minister was maybe gay or something, like, or a politician, whatever. And he was talking about himself, probably, where he just kind of outed himself that, oh, he's probably gay. And pretty crazy. And there's supposed to have video footage of this.
Who filmed it?
It's a humiliation ritual. Look at Mossad Island, right? They had cameras everywhere, right? And you know, and that's why they blackmailed. It's so crazy. They had a pedophile, like, fuck kids to death island, and it's like nobody's been held accountable for that shit at all. And no one does know, like, in the connection to Israel and all that stuff. It's like crazy. No one's been held accountable. And no one even cares. These people are still in power. It's just like,
I don't understand what the fascination with, you know, fucking each other is. It's like, do you guys constantly just go through the day like, I want a young boy. That's what I want.
it's
something when you have so much money that something you can't just get.
What do you mean you just can't get? Why don't you try helping people? Like, there's so many
they're
people.
evil.
Why
Well,
not
that's-
put
yeah,
up,
they're
like,
not good
educational
people.
centers that teach people how to be, you know, properly behave in public and
Yeah.
do different things and think different ways, and
Because they don't want
Oh,
that
well, see,
society.
that's not fun.
I just
Not
want
that I'm
find
saying the other one was. I need to make that clear right
Nova
now.
With all my little boys doing all my little tasks, yeah.
But
Yeah, but like, you're always looking for the bigger and better thing, like you're talking about with porn. It's something
I
that
get-
influence your mind.
Oh,
And when
yeah.
you have that much money and you're just like, all right, well, I'm not a good person, so like, what's next? What's the next
you
step?
become
What's the
so
next step? What's the next
depraved,
step?
and that's why I did a video where I was like, does anyone feel like Pride is like a month-long humiliation ritual to bring, like, society down to the level and degeneracy of the elites? Because it very much seems like it is, and that's what they do. They do these weird rituals. It's existed for a long time, where they humiliate certain people in power to gain them status and to open the doors into Hollywood and all that stuff, and to be connected to the elites. And then you start, it's just fascinating. You start reading into the stuff, and who owns Hollywood?
Whatever happened to Men's Mental Health Month?
I know that too.
Where did that go?
600,000 men killed
that
themselves.
That only
a year.
lasted like what, like 4 years?
Yeah, I
And
know.
then it was Pride Month.
Which is crazy. Another humiliation
And we're over this
ritual.
one.
Yeah.
I have contained my rage for as long as possible, but I shall unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves!
What does that even offer him?
Always Sunny. British eugenists failed in their lobby to legislate forced sterilization, passing instead the Mental Deficiency Act of 1913, which sought to institutionalize people with particular needs. Many British female eugenicists opposed this act because it primarily targeted single mothers. This is me and Billy have talked about this, where it's like, you didn't do the dishes, okay? You're going into the.
Oh, that was a bad joke.
You're going into the mental institution, and it did because like they targeted single mothers, be like you're not fit to raise the kid and all that stuff, and they just throw them in, in some institution,
No, don't tell me.
Pretty crazy. Like it existed too. They were showing pictures for all the Oz listeners. Sterilization of mothers. Yeah, see. And it's just like they were definitely trying to target certain people. I look at these exhibits, eugenics and health exhibit. These people are like, So let's get in. The British economist John Maynard Keynes is credited with the influential theories concerning the state planning over national economies. Keynes believed that the law and the other coercive measures could be imposed on the population abroad to improve their living standards by reducing the overall numbers. In 1914, for instance, he wrote, "In many, if not most parts of the world, there actually exists at the present time a denser population that is incompatible with the higher level of economy, the economy's well-being."
What accent is even that?
I don't know. I don't know.
You sound like Colonel Sanders, like ex-cousin that, just got back from retard rehab.
Yeah. I
say,
What the fuck's retard rehab?
Oh, sorry, that's ex-liberal, socialist Jew party. That whole thing
Sorry, it's
there.
special school now.
Yeah, special school.
I stole that tasty recipe from some black woman. It's true.
Her name is
Knocked on my door.
Jeremiah.
Oh, he did do that, didn't he?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he
stole the
did. He
recipe
stole that
from a
from a fucking Jamaican woman.
That's
No?
why it's so funny. Like,
Yeah.
let's get rid of Aunt Jemima and everything else, and it's like
Uncle Ben.
all the
All the
white guys
heritage.
still exist.
Oh, yeah. Even Wendy, you're not getting rid of Wendy. What is it with clowns? That's the other thing. Why was that even a thing?
Wendy's not a clown. Wendy's
Yes,
a
she
little
is.
girl.
She's got. Look up a picture right now and tell me that's not a clown. That
wasn't
is
supposed
Ronald
to be.
McDonald's daughter. She's
It wasn't
Do you know
supposed
what
to
the
be.
craziest thing is? Do you know that clowns we'll do an episode about this on some point. Clowns might be connected to, I think, the Nephilim. That there was people that claimed the Nephilim or the Anunnaki, one of those, the ancient race. I think it was the Nephilim, and they claimed that they had like big shoes, red hair, all of this weird stuff. So the idea of where clowns come from could come from like these race of people.
It's a little girl, man. It's a little girl with pigtails.
That's a start out clown. That's how she starts. The little bitch has been to Epstein Island. That's what happened.
It's Mossad Island. Don't forget it.
Now look at Ronald McDonald. Now have a look at him. Then put that on the screen.
Billy, I found
tell
your
me that's
baby
not his
pictures.
daughter.
I found your baby pictures, Billy.
He's the one on the right.
That's disturbing. According to some scholars, 19th century pedigree animal breeding inspired U.S. eugenics, with an animal the American Breeding Association splintering to form the eugenics movement by the 1910s. By the 1910s, the U.S. states, particularly in the South, hosted better baby competitions in which the mental and physical characteristics of the infant were measured, and pretty crazy. It was measured by eugenicists, and they were like tabulated by them, being like, "Look at this baby; he's the best baby ever."
You got pictures of that?
That one. I like the nose.
Why are they always
Optimal for-
measuring the nose?
The
Like,
nose is a big piece.
Yeah, that's when they go to Israel, they have to measure your nose.
What are they even basing off of? Just proportion how your body is, or what's the benefit of like?
Well, it's got to be the exact same size. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know. They're like they do like this, where it's like, how big is your head? You know?
Why are they worrying about his head with that fucking hairline?
Yeah, because
Better question is, look at that mustache. How is
I
that
know.
even that far out?
it's crazy. We should bring that shit back, man.
should
But then
not.
you're,
Those
you're like a
giant
fucking
mustaches.
hipster.
No, I can't do that.
See, there we go.
Who's the better baby? You
That's-
know?
I'm sure that's just not just
Birth
That's the
control
doctor's
and
office.
society free clinics. Read the controlled news. CBC, of course.
The
CBC.
birth control news.
You propagandized piece of shit. My tax
Bring
dollars.
that newspaper back. Not
Yeah,
you.
it's
I meant like
Yeah, I
in
know.
the world today. Okay.
pretty crazy. So
Eugenics building?
Yeah,
I'm
that-
sorry, what? There's
yeah.
a building? What do you do? It's like, I don't know. Is my child retarded? Like, what do you want me to do with them? Well, here, put him on the table. Oh, yeah, he's awfully tan. We might have to do something about that.
It's like,
Oh.
take him in the back like old yellers. but-
Don't shoot old Yeller.
This is what they did.
Watched a lot of retarded people. Spent time with them, observed them.
So, writing the
I
American
feel like
Brews
this
magazine-
podcast should just be us just chilling in a living room sometimes, and it shouldn't be fucking filmed.
Oh,
so
yeah.
bad.
Well, this is, we're not for the easily offended. So if you are easily offended, maybe fuck off.
Yeah, get bent.
we're you're allowed to think things. You're allowed to have your own opinions. I'm sorry that mine does not reflect the state narrative and the propaganda.
I think we're not supposed to be laughing at what we're saying. I think
It's just dark humor. If you're not laughing, you're crying. If you're not laughing, you're fucking crying because the world's a dark
This
place.
is the only way we can cope with society nowadays is by
I know.
making a joke of it.
I'm a sad
because
boy.
shit's so bad.
It is. It's very bad. It's only gonna get worse.
Besides, they're gonna look back at us like, can you believe they used to think that they were women? Like, can you believe that shit?
It's
Look
fun.
at him. He's got an Adam's apple. His dick's hanging out.
I can't wait. It's gonna be fun for World War III when there's all these
skirts too short for you, bud.
degenerate-
Wait, do you think
men.
there's a division of trannies?
Yeah, they're doing it
Do you
now.
think they're scary? Like, do you think like they take like a division of them, and then there's like they find out intelligence that there's actually this division that's in China that are actually really homophobic? Like, oh fuck, they're gay. Like, they're gonna fuck us. Do you remember that Shane Gillis? It's like, you know how scary how scary an army would be if they found they were gay. Like the Nazis, they couldn't be stylish enough and find out that they're gay. Or like the Vikings when they're like looking at it, like, oh no, it's the Vikings. They've come to raid our village and rape our women. And then a fucking pride flag comes up on their mask. And you're like,
I'm a little more scared now.
oh no.
It's so fun too, because like they're trying to make it like this diversity and inclusion shit is going to kill this civilization. They want to make them army fucking 50-50 men and women. It's not working so far. But they've done all the tests. It's already out. All of this stuff is already out. That it was like top were the men, obviously. Then the mixed groups were second. Then the women were like dead last. Same with like there was an organization for women firefighters, and they burnt down fucking Alberta. That's a fact. That
Oh, I
happened.
remember that. That was my fun fact like a year ago.
Yeah, so crazy. So, and the thing is, right, like that, even being cops and stuff like that, there's some jobs that women could do, but realistically, like the whole idea is you're supposed to be able to manhandle people. Like that is the job. You're supposed to be able to, and it's like, oh well, that's not all what they do. I'm like, yeah, but if you pull over a guy, there could be dangerous anything, and then you have like in Britain right now, right? Because they're like, oh, it's gotta be all equality, right? And there's women cops that can't take down criminals, are scared to, and there were citizens helping the women cops arrest this guy because they couldn't handle doing it themselves. 2 of these chicks, and then the same thing with that German politician. German politician gets stabbed. And then this citizen tries to help them, and the cop tackles him. The cop gets stabbed in the neck by the Muslim extremist after they tackle the guy trying to help them. And then there's 12 cops, mostly women, all standing around doing nothing, doing absolutely nothing to help the situation. 12 of them, probably around 12 people. It's not good, man. Like, and there's now people are starting to clue in with all that stuff that, yeah, this is like making our society way worse, and you need men to be men and women to be women, and it's built on this foundation, right? Strong men protect women, strong women protect children, strong families protect society. Facts.
You gonna use one of your Jedi mind tricks on me?
I don't know what the sound effect was.
What?
I didn't even know what that sound effect was. I was just gonna.
Oh, yeah, I know where you got that one from.
Yeah, I know.
All you motherfuckers
One of your
are gonna
dirty
pay.
sites.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers. We're gonna fuck your mothers while you watch and cry like little whiny bitches. Once we get to Hollywood and find those Miramax fucks who's making the movie, we're gonna make them eat our shit, then shit out our shit, and then eat their shit that's made up of our shit that we made them eat. And then all you motherfucks are next.
Yep, we're coming
Love,
for you.
Jay and Silent Bob.
And that one was from the exact same website.
Yeah, that was from Eugenics.com. We're gonna make all you motherfuckers pay. So It's pretty crazy because all these weirdos are like, just wait till the Civil War. The left is not going to favor well in that war. So pretty crazy. So they've this writing for the American Breeders magazine in 1910. Davenport, director of the Cold Springs Harbor Station for the experimental study of evolution, argued that the society must protect itself from so-called feeble-minded by the segregation or even sterilization. American eugenicists established the Carnegie-funded Eugenics Record Office. The U.S. socialist, feminist, and birth control advocate Margaret Singer, who was, opened America's first birth control clinic in New York in 1916. Sanger also helped to create the organization Planned Parenthood. But these progressive steps masked another agenda. And this is true, right? Like Planned Parenthood, all of the nurses are driving like fucking sweet cars, expensive, some, Ferraris, because they're selling the aborted fetuses. That's a fact. They're putting it in creams or whatever, all sorts of stuff that they do.
Putting it in Pepsi along with the microchips.
It is in Pepsi. I tell Sawyer that all the time. I'm like, you're drinking
He
like.
loves it though.
If you look it
Those
up,
Mormons. Jehovah's Witnesses. They love that kind of stuff.
That was a smart name though, Planned Parenthood. Because all growing up, I was like, yeah, it's like a nice place. Like you're like 6 or whatever, and then. It's like that's a horrible name. It's not planned. It's for people that didn't plan to go into the building.
It's true.
It should be called Clothes Hangers R Us.
That's fucking hilarious. That's fucking dark.
Or just Toys R Us, same thing.
No, it's not toys. It's clothes hangers. Come on in. You come in, you get a set of free clothes hangers. Any color you want, we got them in white, blue, and green.
That's not any color you want.
That's the colors we're offering, so any color you want. You can have one of those colors.
Oh, you a sick one. You want all 3. All right.
So the thing is, right, like whatever, people believe in whatever you want. Don't get offended by all this shit. But you shouldn't use it as birth control. If you've had 5, I think it's about time you stop.
I think if you're not planning on being on any birth control, I think you should just stick to blowjobs.
Yeah. Well, the idea, right? I've always said this, like,
not bad idea.
That's
like not bad. Just
not bad idea.
No, but the thing is too, it's just like it is a consequence. It's a very serious adult thing, and when you do it, there is consequences of things that we do as human beings, and that's one of the consequences. So you kind of have to be like, well, it's like a learning lesson. But now this obviously, to me, in some regard,
I'm
from a
trying to
population
figure out why you'd rather let him fuck you rather than find out trying if he's going to commit to you.
Yeah.
Oh, because that seems a little more less intense.
But look at the degenerate society, OnlyFans, like legal prostitution, pretty much, like all the stuff that we're doing. It's eroding the females, and then there's females that are standing up for the transgender people who are literally taking over. Like all these feminists are like rah rah rah, like let them be, and then it's like they're taking over your sports.
All the guys are like, "Want to get a beer? Yeah, let's get a beer."
Go get a beer.
Let them fucking have at it.
So this is Margaret Singer.
This is Margaret Slee, president of America's Planned Parenthood Federation, maintains that European women should stop having babies for the next 10 years.
But Mrs. Slee, in this country, having babies is the only thing left which is both unrationed and untaxed. Do you think we really ought to stop?
Well, I suppose a subject like that is really so personal that it's entirely up to the parents to decide. But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies.
Reptilian.
She probably that is probably.
Do you see how far ours are apart? Do you see that?
Reptilian lizard lady.
Yeah, look at her fucking eyes.
Let's play it one more time.
This is Margaret Slee, president of America's Planned Parenthood Federation, maintains that European women should stop having babies for the next 10 years.
But Mrs. Slee, in this country, having babies is the only thing left which is both unrationed and untaxed. Do you think we really ought to stop?
Well, I suppose a subject like that is really so personal that it's entirely up to the parents to decide. But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies.
It's so crazy because that's like, the thing is too, right? The idea of the left or whatever, right? They're like anti-human. They are completely anti-human. All of their policies, all the things they believe in, like they hate babies. How do you hate babies?
How about you just teach kids So wait till marriage.
It's crazy. There's like protesters and stuff like that for the LGBTQ blah 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 fucking whatever blah blah blah. And there's video footage of these women being like, "Oh, I love killing babies. I love it. I love to kill babies." And it's like you're out of your mind. You're batshit crazy. And like I said, I think that people should have a choice in some regard, but not to use as birth control or whatever. But the fact is, the left is like anti-human. They just want to kill people, sterilize people, cut off their balls, stop them from having puberty. Like they're anti-human. They're against humanity.
Okay, quickly. Sorry, Brett. Wait till marriage.
Or not?
How are you doing?
What am I doing?
You doing okay with that?
Yeah, like I said, blowjobs. Did you not fucking get that, or?
I don't know. I don't believe you.
Are you a virgin?
Am I a virgin?
Yeah.
Nah, I broke that one.
No
one taught me. Someone should have taught me better. I was kind of lost in that one.
Oh,
I didn't know what was right and what was wrong. I was like, maybe I'm doing it right.
Destroy the child. Corrupt them all.
Oh, did you think it was the butt? And it wasn't. It wasn't the butt.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
I mean, you could try, but
did you use soaking? Is that what you did?
No, I did not soak. I'm not a Mormon.
Brett was just talking.
I feel like they should at least teach kids about the consequences of having
yes,
kids.
100%.
Well, they do.
Somewhat.
I remember I got
What do you mean
taught
they
that.
did?
I got taught that in school.
But they didn't understand the full like matter of it. Like, they never actually
Actually, that's
seen
true.
a
We left that
scheming,
class and we were like,
ungrateful
"Y'all
child.
want we should all have sex."
Now it's even worse. It's like you can be called they, them, zim, zers, zzer.
Even a dress code that'd be a little more ideal because girls nowadays they're like 14, they dress like full on hookers.
Yeah,
well, the fucking dress codes
bad.
are usually like hookers.
I know they don't in New Brunswick because you can't tell the guys from the women, but like here in Ontario, it's pretty bad. You walk down the streets, like, am I in like downtown Toronto or Burford? Like they're dressed like whores. Damn it! What am I supposed to do? I got $50 and I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
So Sanger was a strong advocate for eugenics, even speaking about the subject at a Ku Klux Klan meeting. Two white supremacists who had the interest in wiping out the black population. In 1924, the psychologist and feminist Leta Hollingworth explained that the very intelligent are those who rise in the world of the competition and who are also able to produce children like themselves.
Feels like I'm there.
Sponsored by Eugenics Society's Fitter Families competition awarded medals inscribed with, "Yeah, I have a goodly heritage." That's what it says. Yeah, I have a goodly heritage.
That was as good as an impression as guys trying to be women nowadays. It's just
I
as
know.
convincing.
Yeah,
I know.
It's
all I could hear was just like an old lady like decrepit in the corner, just like rocking in her chair, going ah.
Her balls are hanging out of underneath her skirt. Like, oh fuck! It's an old one. Shit. What do I fucking do?
Well, it's been happening since fucking the Weimar Republic, if not beforehand. So read this for us, Billy.
Marriage, fit and unfit. Pure definition. Pure, _. Children, normal. All right. Number 2, abnormal. Children, abnormal. Okay, what the fuck am I reading? Oh, so
going.
okay. So number 3, pure and abnormal. Children, normal but tainted. Some grandchildren, abnormal. That one I feel like is my category. All right. Tainted and abnormal. Children plus normal but tainted and abnormal. Oh, those are half normal and half tainted, half abnormal. Number 5 is tainted and pure. What? Children are half pure normal, but half normal but tainted. And then you got tainted.
Wouldn't that just be tainted abnormal?
No,
rather than tainted and pure.
And then you got Brett. You got tainted.
Tainted.
Children of every 4 abnormal, 1 pure normal, and 2 tainted. Sounds like a potion. How long are we Americans to be so careful for the pedigree of our pigs and chickens and cattle, and then leave the ancestry of our children to chance or to blind sentiment?
Pretty weird, man. This is in their own writings, which is so crazy. Look at this one.
It's a good point. Like
Some
I feel like I could be convinced.
On the rest. Some people are born to be a burden on the rest. Learn about hereditary. You can help correct these conditions. America needs more intelligent people.
Go back to that. On my screen, all those flashcards are blurry as hell. Can you read those or no?
I cannot see.
Oh, you can't either? Okay.
Because, you know.
Oh, this light flashes
they're
every
in
50
German.
seconds.
Oh, that's why.
No, they're not. They're English.
Every something in the
Every
United
50 seconds, a person is committed to something stairs. Okay.
That's one of their abortion methods.
Stairs?
Yeah.
Every 50 seconds we push. It's like a clock.
So so crazy. The U.S. eugenics were behind the Immigration Act in 1924, which limited the entering into the United States of foreign peppers, who the establishment considered genetically inferior. Do you know that up until the 60s in Canada, to immigrate here, you had to be European? I think we should have probably kept that. Then this is the idea, right? For everybody out there, right? Should Japan be for the Japanese? Should China be for the Chinese? Should India be for? Is it racist, right? Is it racist for India to be for Indians? For Japan to be for the Japanese?
And
right?
should Earth be for humans and not reptilian bastards?
Yes.
Yeah, those fuckers keep coming on.
So, and that's the idea is like, and then people are like, well, you're a colonizer. It actually does mean something to be Canadians. You know, places. And that's so absurd. That's like, you think because of the British and Spanish didn't show up that somebody else would have, right? Sorry, you fucking lost. The past is the past. There's generations of people that have been here have no connection to Europe at all
Next
anymore.
time, build some better firearms.
I kind of want to go to Europe though. Like, I don't want to be.
You don't want to go there now.
Canada.
You're closer than us, so get on it.
I'll go to Italy.
You'll go to Italy. You know how bad it is there?
Speaking of which, you should go to Italy. You know why you should go to Italy? Because right now they're offering like
the
free
$1
farmland,
houses,
free houses.
Yeah.
Because they have a population problem with like 40s, 50s, and 60s. They have all old people but no young people.
I wonder why that happened.
Well, they're trying to get immigrants there, but they don't want to fucking move there.
No.
I'm like, I don't blame you. You seen that place? It's nothing but white rock and fucking tomatoes.
Well, the thing is too, it's you know, during medicine time, you know, they targeted what population the most. I wonder, right? So, and the idea of like they convinced Canadians, like that people like that Margaret, communist bitch, that you know is like we gotta stop having kids and all that stuff. And that's all a plan, the clergy plan or whatever. The guy that wrote out that you know they need to erase the European, the whole Europeans, and they need to be erased and replaced by they literally state this inferior people to be controlled. I wonder where that came from. Right? And this is all in their writings. All of it is there. It is there. It is there. And when we eventually we do the Protocol Elders of Zion, people are, it's a conspiracy theory. How come it labels like everything that's happening now then? How come all of the stuff that is in these writings from the late 1800s are now coming all to fruition? Why is that? You know? I don't know. It's very strange. And they try to tell Canadians not to have kids and shit. You know, and we have too many people, you know, stop having kids, have one or two, and then they make life so unlivable where it's like you can't afford to have kids. And then it's like, oh yeah, but we can have every person from every other country move into our backyards and cause a bunch of crime waves and thievery and yes.
It's funny because those people they're bringing in have nothing or anything they want to do with the gay or the alphabet.
I know.
People. They want
it's not
nothing
gonna.
to do with
It's gonna be a bad civil war. But there's
what the gays versus the Al Qaeda. I mean,
yeah,
other people.
Yes, the Muslims do not like what's going on either. But there's good and bad in all religious groups. I truly believe that.
If we have to use the Muslims to get rid of the alphabet people, I will coincide with them.
It is crazy because like Sweden is banning the burqa. Sweden's banning the burqa and stuff like that, which is like if I was going to a Muslim country, I'd have to adapt to what they were doing. There's 49 countries on this earth that are Muslim, and they don't want to assimilate with people. They want to take over.
Perfectly in a Muslim country. I mean, you could beat your wife. You could have as many wives as you want.
And then they all put them on the welfare system. You know, like 70% of Muslims in Britain are all on the welfare system. 80% of the women are. So it's pretty crazy. So, and then
it doesn't really seem like much of a welfare system when 100% of them are on it, because then that just means your man is paying your way. Is that what they mean by welfare?
Well, no, yeah, that does happen. But it's like I think 40% of the men are on the welfare system, and then like 80% of the women are or whatever, right? And they're taking advantage of these systems.
Oh, that's not even a system anymore. That's the majority.
That's socialism. Just give everybody fucking all the people that are the hardworking taxpayers, just suck them dry of all their money and give it to some other guy because he just showed up here and is like, I've got the Canadian passport now, like, and I'm Canadian as you are. And it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not Canadian. You never will be.
You like our fucking country.
Tell us how you real feel, Tom.
I feel a lot of things. I have a lot of feelings. I got feelings, man. Or let feelings take over a whole society. People are crying about their feelings.
I feel
angry.
I feel like no one gives a fuck about your feelings.
Yeah. We should burn your feelings.
Burn them away. So crazy. It's just crazy that you're like, trying to put people in jail for having feelings. So yeah, they created the Immigration Act, pretty weird. In 1927, U.S. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes affirmed that the constitutionality of forced sterilization he decreed in the case of Carrie Buck, who was erroneously thought to have had learning difficulties, versus John Hendard Bell, a eugenicist. 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. Buck's mother had also been misdiagnosed with the mental disorder. After Buck versus Bell, a dozen of U.S. states felt empowered to enact sterilization laws against the institutionalized. By the mid-1930s, eugenicists recognized their failure to turn their theory and practice into science, but there was no clear dissemination or eugenics ideas developed from U-form eugenics. The majority of eugenic sterilization in the U.S. was conducted between 1930 in 1960. In the 70s, federally funded U.S. medical facilities continued to quietly perform forced sterilization, usually on black women, the most high-profile case of that being Minnie and Mary Ralph, aged 12 and 14. Other cases include the sterilization of Mexican migrant women this is done in California. I was actually watching a video on this. In 1975, and federally funded Indian Health Services sterilized 25,000 indigenous women. Pretty crazy, man.
A lot of people.
It's a lot of people, we sterilized millions of men in World War I and II, technically, because they just don't exist now. In World War I, almost all of the men in PEI died. It's so crazy. Generations of men that could have existed today. And that's every generation has to face a war because they need to kill off the strongest of the men so they can take over the society. As a part of the population reduction, one-child policies between 1971 and 2013 took place. Chinese state and local authorities forced 200 million sterilizations and over 330 million abortions on lower-class women. That's what China does, offering wealthier families the chance to offset their breeding by paying social fees, which is so crazy. So they're like, you got to pay fees to have children, and that's what that Margaret Sanger woman was talking about. Was like, should we tax people for having kids and shit? Like crazy, pretty weird. Yeah, social compensation fees. So, as a part of India's so-called emergency declared in 1975 in response to the population booms, India began forced sterilization of 10 million people by 1977. And it's pretty crazy, right? The only thing that India imports is people. It's true. Come on. Later, allegedly, softer measures were imposed, such as financial incentives for poorer families to undergo sterilization. So it's like, we'll pay you. It's like people get taken $50 to take the medicine time stuff. It's just like, here, take $50 to sterilize yourself.
The medicine time.
90% of the victims were women, and including 4.6 million in the year 2012 alone. In the poorest states in Bihar, 13,000 medical camps were established to sterilize 650,000 women. Pretty crazy. In 1920, the German Just Call Binding and the psychiatrist Alfred Hutch co-authored the book permitting the destruction of the life of unworthy of living. The Frank der Virgin tongue, whatever. You want to pronounce this really
the Virgin.
It's very
You got
long.
this.
Die Felden.
V's are W's, so it's vol. Like
if you can pronounce this long ass fucking thing.
The Ferdable.
It's so long.
Fertile.
Der.
It's der.
Der.
Divertible. Wosentag.
Wosentag.
Wosentag. Wosistentag.
Wosistentag. Oh, it's my brother.
Yeah,
we know him.
The Istentag.
Lebenswürst.
Oh, Lebensschanwürsten.
Just fucking put it in Google and just let Google read it.
In which they gave legal and medical justification for murder as mercy, killing, euthanasia, right? And now we're doing that in Canada with MAID. You know, my grandmother is, I have one last grandparent. She recently had like a heart attack. She's like 93, and they were gonna, she was just debating on signing up for MAID. Realistically, there's justification for it, and either way, I think you should naturally let yourself die. But if I was like, well, how my grandfather went out in an old folks a palliative care place or whatever, where he's like he stroked out and he fucking can't say anything, I would probably want to put a bullet in my head. So like, but to get kids to sign up for that stuff because they're sad, that's fucking wrong. You know, pretty crazy. So their text cites eugenics and social Darwinism, rejected by most physicians at the time. The binding hooch thesis informed Nazi eugenics policy. Between the 1920s and close to the Second World War, 60,000 Americans were forcibly sterilized after the Nazis gave eugenics a bad name. U.S. sterilization typically occurred behind closed doors in institutions. In the 1930s, Germany, conditions including epilepsy, manic depression, and schizophrenia were attributed solely to the Melenden regressive genes. So yeah, if you have bad genes. When the Nazis came to power in 1933, they legislated to have physicians send patients with particular needs, including social and mental, to be sterilized, to sterilization courts, where a judge and panels and witnesses and medical professions would decide on their which is so crazy, just as decide to be like, should you reproduce, you know? So they had a whole judges panels to be like
who got to be the judge?
Should you reproduce?
Like, was that a vote, or was it just because like you had money?
I don't even know. Like, that's why I'm like, who were they? So, you know, these kids were signed.
That wasn't the judge.
No, these were the ones being judged, you know? Pretty crazy. So such a nuts thing. And did you know that the guy that made Kellogg cereal? This guy?
That guy made Kellogg's?
Yeah, that's the Dr. John Kellogg or whatever I think his name is. And yeah, this is one of his eugenics institutions. He was a eugenicist. So
I just watched a TV show on him, The Food That Built America, not too long ago.
Did they talk about how he was a eugenicist?
They most certainly did not.
Wow,
they did not bring that up.
And honestly, it might be an episode because I found some articles because he was a weird guy and he believed in eugenics. And if you look at the ingredients in Kellogg's cereal, any of them, there is
sperm killer.
Literally, there is like the most disgusting shit in cereal. Cereal is like the worst thing you could eat, and it has a bunch of
though. So good.
Yeah. While it's killing your insides, there's like literally stuff within food now that is like pretty much the exact same as like cyanide and shit in little doses. So that's not good. And look at the whole episode because he was a eugenicist, and then he put the stuff in the food, and and a lot of people believe that the cereal was being used, especially for children, to sterilize them at a young age. Pretty weird, I gotta say.
Fuck, I've eaten enough of it. I might be.
It's fucking weird.
Pretty crazy. The Nazis promoted Lebensborn, font of life, to increase the birth rate of the Aryan children. At least 350,000 Germans were forcibly sterilized by the Nazis up to 1945. Because sterilization was legal in many U.S. states, the Nazis were not tried at Nuremberg for eugenics because the Americans were also doing it. And this is so crazy because I think it's still happening. They've just like hushed it and used different terms and used different things and methods to be able to do this. Vaccines and stuff like that, and all sorts of other shit that stuff they put in the food. By the mid 1930s, more of half of Germany's physicians had joined the Nazi Party, seeing themselves as biological soldiers in the war against racial impurity. Defective German children were left to die of starvation and exposure in unheated wards. Others were poisoned with cyanide. I heard you laugh. Were you laughing, Billy? Just kidding.
No, it's my fucking dog. He's going. No, he's whining over there.
Exactly. Is your head fit enough? You know, it's just like it's such a crazy thing. You know. I've always, it's an interesting topic. I want to get into this because it is definitely happening. They forced, so Nazis' forced sterilization laws was imposed on countries it occupied, including Austria and Norway. The mass murder of unfit adults were unusually conducted by morphine injections and the insurance of fake death certificates. By the 1930s, over 200,000 people had been murdered in the T4 eugenics program. Pretty weird. One of the most unusual chapters in the history of eugenics and depopulation agenda, pushed by some of the elites, concerned the Georgia Guidestones. Brett's dying. Are you okay?
Always.
Are you sure?
Yeah, just
slowly dying.
Slowly dying.
It's enough.
So, and it's crazy too, because like we talked about me and Juan talked about the Georgia Guidestones way back in the day, but that was the idea. It's the idea, right? That like they understood that I think it's 500 million. I think is what it is. Is the idea of like that's where they should keep the population because that's the number that they figured out where they could control people the easiest, and the management wouldn't get overwhelmed by the population. Hence why they want to get back to that number. And I believe that's a part of the reason why they want to bring us into World War III. All the politicians want to do this. They want to send your kids off to war to die for their agenda and for to destroy the Goyim. And what they've said openly, they're going to want to destroy and enslave all the Goyim. You know, so read it. Read their literature. It's all there. So it's so crazy. So obviously the Georgia Guidestones is granite, capital of the world, whatever. In 1979, one Robert C. Christian, that was the pseudonym, commissioned Joe H. Fendold, president of the Albertan Granite Finishing Company, construct the 5 cap slabs of the 19 feet high monument to the Age of Reason. The Guidestones inscribed 10 commandments, including depopulation and eugenics, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature, guide reproduction wisely, and improve fitness and diversity. And diversity comes strictly from the Communist Manifesto. Crazy how often this stuff comes up. Seems a little weird. Seems a little coincidental, you know? The Georgia Guidestones is a mysterious granite monument erected in 1980 in Elbert Country, Georgia, in the United States. A set of 10 guidelines inscribed in the structure of monument of all different eight modern languages, shorter messages inscribed at the top of the structure in 4 ancient languages, scripts. It attracts controversy because no one knows the real identity of the person who built it, and is the first 2 guidelines state that they must obviously keep humanity under 500 million. What is called...
Oh, they missed that target.
Well, they're getting there. The population is rapidly declining. Like it's pretty crazy. If you actually look at the numbers, even in Canada, if you saw the actual death statistics of the amount of people that are dying daily, you would think that we're in the middle of a war. That's how many people are dying daily and monthly, yearly. Like it's like it would be the exact same amount of how people would be dying in a state of warfare. Pretty crazy.
Pretty sure the population's gone up.
That's not true, man. That's not true. Elon Musk is talking about this. I don't even like that fucking guy because he kissed the wall. But like everyone's been talking about this specifically within white populations. Don't go on Google because you're getting your fucking facts from Jews.
Well, I'm going to say the biggest one is India, right? India's got over 1.5 billion people.
They have way too many people. And it's not
there's
helping anybody.
There's a fucking 1/6 of your world population is just India.
So are you saying we should drop a nuke on India, Billy? Is that what you're saying?
Did not say that. I said we're a little far away from 500 million.
We're technically at war in some respect with India because they're taking over Canadian politics. They bought out all the politicians. There's like 16 of them in the House of Commons. And, the fact in this country, you shouldn't be allowed to be in politics if you're not born here. You should have to be born here. I believe that. You should be born, at least born here, to be in politics and to be able to govern over people. But you haven't noticed the politicians are all weak and effeminate creatures that like to suck the population dry of all their money so they can all be rich and come out of politics a millionaire. Fuck you. I hate politicians. They can all shove it. We should all euthanize them. What is called consumer eugenics is already prevalent in many countries, and future possibilities widely discussed in magazines in recent years. Throughout the perm implantation genetic diagnosis, physicians routinely test embryos for hundreds of genetics. Parents can select embryos with certain genes to avoid the particular disease or to pick the sex of their future child. Like, this stuff's happening now. This is like the Kardashians and the rich fuckers do. Designer babies. Do you want blonde hair? Do you want blue eyes? Do you want, whatever, Gucci babies. What would be the perfect baby for you, Billy?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I'm not answering that.
You'd probably take the TP.
What? That woman does not look like a
Grandma
woman.
looks like a man. Grandma looks like Mr. Incredible.
That's so funny. Weird, man.
Look at that chiseled ass jawline. Look at that. Looks strong.
Look at those women making cornflakes for Mr. Kellogg,
Corn your flakes.
So funny. So yes, it's pretty crazy. They're doing this now. So in 1998, the geneticist Dr. J. Galton, relative of Sir Francis, wrote not of the immortality of eugenics, but in the need for better regulation. To prevent such abuse in the future, statutory bodies such as genetic commissions should be established to provide guidance and rules and conduct. In 2003, the geneticist Charles Epstein. That's a little weird. That's a little weird. The modern human genetics and medical genetics are eugenics, if not literal return to eugenics of the past, at least an incarnation of that eugenics in a new guise. Between 2005 and 2016, dozens of female prisoners were sterilized in California without their informed consent. That's pretty crazy. Historian Daniel J. Cleaves says humanity now possesses tools to reshape its own heritage and capacities, perhaps even to realize the dream of eugenics, that human beings might take charge of their own evolution. Pretty crazy stuff. And we're slowly wrapping this up, but it is a crazy idea because they're doing this obviously now, right? And according to the scripture that I've been reading and in the books that certain people like to promote as their ideologies of what they believe, and they think they want to rule over the class of Goyim and make the essentially like a dumb slave race population, and we see this now.
Talking about the Bible?
No, that's a Bible. But the Bible has got some bad things.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Talmud there, bud.
Oh, okay.
And all this stuff that they believe in, and the people that control much of all the financial industries, all your governments, all the banking, all that stuff. It comes from specifically one small group of people, and that's a fact. You can look this up. You can follow the money. It's easy to prove now. Today, dozens of gene editing companies offer services in age biotech, biobanking, cell therapy, DNA sequences, stems, synthetic biology, and the word that we can't use, the V word. So, yes, medicine time.
Maxine?
Yes.
Oh, I'm literally sitting here like, you can't say vagina?
Yeah, so pretty crazy. So, cut down the trees, bro. So the
We'll keep the people on the ladder, though.
They're the ones building it. It's fine. Pretty crazy. So there's a lot of weird stuff to do with this, right? And
Is like the 6th, 7th time you've gone back to
I know.
Is that you, Brett?
Could have been.
Know who that looks like, though? Your cousin.
That does look like Fletcher.
That does look like your cousin.
That guy is so hard to find a blonde hair, blue eye.
Yeah, he's for it. He wants it so bad.
Mm-hmm.
What's your ideal woman, Billy?
One with a vagina.
That's it.
That's a great start. A fantastic start. I start there.
Fantastic start. Particularly not with
I got a fucking thing about teeth, man.
Really?
I got a thing about teeth.
Really
if their
wax off the
fucking
pictures of
smile's not
teeth.
fucking perfect, like I'm like,
Oh,
I'm not
you've said
attracted
this
to you
before.
at all.
Yeah.
Really?
Your
Does she need to
smile
have,
has
like,
to be
sharp
so
canines, or like
fucking
is it the whiteness?
flawless.
Wow.
Like, it's got to be white. It's got to be a fucking perfect set of teeth.
Really?
I don't know why. It's like that gets me off.
See, I got him right off the hop. Didn't need to have good teeth, and he's like, "Well, you got me there. I like good teeth on a woman."
Yeah, so don't date anyone
I
from
paid for mine. Mine are fake, but whatever.
Those are fake?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I do not have efficient teeth, but I want mine female too. Yeah.
But then if you get like some
well,
of the...
because if I found somebody that had fucked up teeth, dude, let me tell you a story right now. I've told this to Tom before.
Yeah,
My
okay.
teeth were so fucked up as a child, like beyond fucked up. Take that off. This is actually a funny story. This is a funny story. Yeah, anyway, so I was at my buddy's barbecue. I must have been maybe 7 or 8 years old, and we're playing water guns. We're shooting around, and this is back in the day when like old people used to be able to be mean to children, and yeah, you can't do that anymore. And I'm running by, and I ran right past his grandpa that was cooking on the barbecue, and he fucking full-fledged like grandpa man hands, been working his whole life, grabs my fucking shoulder, whips me around, and goes, "Open your fucking mouth." And I'm like, he's like, "You'd make one gross hell of a mess out of a cob of corn. Carry on."
Carry on. Yeah, it's so crazy.
I'm like, thanks.
Thanks, bro. And then you have like, you get your teeth fixed. You look like fucking Chris Sky, fucking horse teeth, like fucking weird. So under the section of new humans, the UK Ministry of Defence notes that out to the year 2036, the application of advanced genetics could challenge the current assumptions about human nature and the existence. It goes. Stop breathing into the mic like that. It's fucking. I don't like it. It also notes that initially employed for medical purposes, breakthroughs in these areas could also be put to ethnically questionable uses. Examples include the superior advancement of human attributes, including physical strength and sensory perception. It concludes the extreme variation in the attributes could arise between individuals, between societies, creating additional reasons for conflict. Another section of the report notes that the biotechnological and genetic engineering may be combined to create the designer bioweapons to target crops, livestock, and particular ethnic groups of people. The document ends with with references to the final steps in eugenics, ethnic cleansing. Sorry, everyone knows what that's about. In reference to the neutron weapons, which kill life and leave property undamaged, the ability to inflict organic destruction while leaving the infrastructure intact might take it as a weapon of choice for extreme ethnic cleansing and increasing world population. Conclusion. This article has traced the thread of eugenics from our ancient past to the trans and post-humanist vision of the gene editing tech heads. The article has documented how eugenics can infringe upon human rights, which we don't really have to begin with, and even lead to genocide. A further thought concerns elderly care and social security in economic neoliberal states. In the UK, the policies by the ruling Tory party in 2010 to the present have, in the last decades, killed 250,000 economically useless Britons via the fiscal austerity, old people who needed later life care, disabled people claiming social security, and most of the impoverished who depended on the states for their survival. In the minds of policymakers, eugenics is alive and well today. So they're killing.
They're not
people,
doing too well though. But yeah, they're alive.
It's gonna, trust me. It's in the works, man. The population is rapidly declining.
It's been in the works for a while. I'm assuming.
And for a while, but it's happening now. And how do we know how many people there are? Just because they tell us that? I don't know if I believe them. So, and the idea is like, right, more impoverished places have more kids, third world country, and eventually they're gonna come after them at some point. It's gonna happen.
That was a good time for a motorcycle to go by.
Check this out. Did you see? Look at this. Look at the population declining. All of these, like, in
I thought
everybody.
you just said you don't believe anything that you just put out.
This is by real fact checked shit. You know.
Oh,
but,
real
That's
fact
literally
check.
next
Sorry.
year, sir.
Yeah, but I know. But look.
That's not even up to.
Look at the population. So in
And they got
2017,
it. Some of them got it down to like exactly 20. Like they didn't even round off to the one's exactly 927 people.
but look, this is supposedly is factual. This is the Deagle 2025 forecast by country of the population, and the United States is rapidly declining. It looks like Canada is getting there, but the United Kingdom is.
I think this is a little excessive.
I feel like Ukraine's really wrong on that one.
Where's Ukraine?
Yeah, right there.
Oh yeah. Look at how much their population has dropped, though.
Yeah, no, it should have dropped a lot more.
Look at ours. Go to ours. Go to Canada.
But it's because we're our immigrant population, though. That's
You're saying they're bombing.
We have the highest immigration in the entire fucking world. Canada just lets anybody in.
You know what the funny thing is? They all stay in Toronto.
Yeah, and
majority of them just stay in
every
Toronto.
one of them. Fucking on
Luxembourg.
Southern
So
Ontario
we're looking at this chart,
wild.
everybody listening, and it's like a rapidly declining population.
Okay, hold on. Iceland. There's only like 400,000 to begin with. You think
I know,
that many people? That's half the population.
Yeah.
No, it's not half. It's like 100,000. But still, that's not that. There's no way.
140,000.
This
That's
is noticeable.
Damn
like,
close to half.
This is statistically happening. They can prove all this stuff.
I don't. I think you just grabbed this chart that fixed your view and you kind of.
No, I found this. You can fact check it.
Who made that?
I can look it up. Look up the Deagle 2025 forecast or whatever.
Deagle made it. Deagle sent people census across the world. They paid for all of it.
They can
go knock on people's doors to go see how many people lived in each house.
They actually know they do know some of that stuff, right? But
you
it depends.
You can't believe that.
Listen, but it depends
you
on
told me
if the government's saying it. I wouldn't trust necessarily what they're saying. But
is Deagle government funded? You need to know that now.
I'm gonna look that up.
That's before.
If it's government funded, then you know it's fucking fake. You know there's way more people dead than what that
population projects states. This is actually a real thing. So I'm looking it up now. Population rises until 2025, then falls drastically, outnumber total deaths. Since the total deaths will outnumber the total births, because there is a lot of people dying. Like I said, if you actually looked up the statistics,
there's also a lot of old people in general where there were a lot more mating happening 60, 70 years ago than today, and it's about their time to die.
It's eugenics,
natural.
Bro.
Okay.
To be fair, there's a lot of people.
It's eugenics, bro.
That doesn't sound like my thing.
That sounds like an insurance claim.
Yeah. Where's my thing?
Come get your insurance.
We'll see. Because time we're 50, there's gonna be not many white people left. I'm sure.
Well, Bill, you're how many kids you got, Billy?
7.
I mean, what?
That I know about?
Yeah.
Oh. 7.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, when white people are not having kids and everyone's like, "You guys should have kids," I was like, maybe they should have stopped sterilizing everybody and all the other shit that they do. So
it's time for Billy's Fun Fact of the Day.
What do you got for us?
Okay, I remember reading about this like 10 years ago, and I was sitting here trying to fucking find something. I remember reading about this back when we worked at Swiss Chalet. Did you know that there are like certain types of plants that can soak up radiation and actually like completely diminish it, like after a country gets bombed?
Yeah. There's trees that also suck in the carbon that they're trying to reduce.
Well, no. So like after this happened, I do not remember the year. I was trying to look it up here while we were doing our thing. I think it was around like maybe 2013, 2012, 2013. Some Buddhist monks were like planting the shit in Japan, sunflowers.
Yeah.
If you plant like hordes of sunflower seeds, like you'll test the radiation in the ground, plant a bunch of sunflowers, test it the very next year, and there's zero radiation there at all. Like it pulls that shit up, and that's so cool.
That is cool.
That's super neat.
That is a cool fun fact,
There's a couple of other flowers. I don't remember what other flowers there were. There was like 3 or 2, maybe 3 more, but like the sunflower, I remember that one. 100%.
God or whatever the force is has given us all that we need. Realistically, and all this stuff. That's why it's so funny. I'm like, the the amount of carbon that they're saying we produce here in Canada is like it's we've already hit net zero. If you look at how many trees actually do suck in the carbon and they need that to survive, that's why anyone that's listening to this global warming shit is a fucking scam. The taxation is a scam. It's just to rape you, all of your wealth and all of your money until you fucking die. And they've proven this now. All this, they can map all of this out. The amount of trees that are in Canada already reduced the carbon, and we're already at net zero because it already erases all the carbon that we're already producing and putting out there. Stop believing what your government is telling you, you fucking retards. So if you don't like the show, if you do like the show, give us 5-star rating and a good review. I would appreciate it. You can get merch on the merch site. Our link tree is out now, so you can click. It'll be in every episode. You can click the link, and you can. Dutch comes in the end of this. The thing is facts. But you can buy merch. Is the best way to support us. There's more and more people coming over to the Patreon. You can watch very controversial documentaries. There's some bonus episodes on there and things that you won't get on the main show. We'll be doing some more fun stuff for Patreon. I'm pretty excited for. Me and Billy were even talking about maybe doing one where like everyone gets jokes and then we try to make each other laugh. And the whole point is not to laugh. Like we can even do the water in the mouth thing.
I got a good one right now.
Go ahead.
Billy moving to New Brunswick. That's a fucking joke.
Fuck Billy, that son of a bitch.
You used to be funny. Fuck you.
No, it's just true.
So it's that's the best way to support us. Obviously, 5-star rating reviews. It does more than what you think it does. And if you don't like the show, just stop listening and turn it off. We are for.
And give us a 5-star review when you turn it off.
And
He clearly got under your skin, man. Come on.
Yeah, I did because
this.
I've been doing this for 6 fucking years.
Fuck that.
6 years. 6 years, and the thing is,
more than
right?
6
The
years,
whole,
hasn't it?
the whole, yeah, pretty much. But the whole idea is like we're just open-minded guys having a conversation, questioning things, and that's the whole point of the show. And if you don't like it, it is a simple thing of just stop listening. Or
I just want to tell you all, go fuck yourself.
Oh, shit.
I'm really upset you got my film from Cuba. That was a personal thing I sent you.
go fuck yourself. All right, everybody. We love everybody, I guess.
Cheers,
love
guys.
who you love, and support the show. Support keeping the world strange, motherfuckers.